Horses go first. Give me coffee. Horses go first. Just let me be blunt. My speech in the morning, nothing but grunts. With no coffee, that's as dangerous. On a scale from 1 to 10, I rank it that girl from Stranger Things. And if you get what I'm saying, my attitude be mad flagrant like I'm Draymond. But you ain't get the picture, BFP. So I'm gonna keep pushing on you, GNC. It's like, yeah, the first thing on my mind is when that hot coffee gonna seep into the coffee grind. It's like some magic's floating on in the air. Toss some ice cubes in my cup, it's a good day. All I gotta say is that it's starting in a good way. It's time for working and I don't even care. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Just give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up. Horses go first. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up. Horses go first. Start fresh, that's how it's gotta be. Everything starts back with your coffee beans. If it's cold brew, then it's gotta be coarse. Don't get the cart ahead of the horse, start learning the course. But of course you can disregard, and don't at me if it gets too hard. When it's my time to drink, man, it's always on hand. Drink from a cup or a bottle, even a can. You never know when you're craving no hit. It could be in the bathroom while you're taking a Ric Flair on CD, ain't got nothing on it. When that coffee hits my lips, it's a seance. Feeling real super with the cape on. Anything I'll take on. This cup of coffee, yeah, boy, this is the shit. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Just give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up. Horses go first. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down. Give me coffee. Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up. Horses go first. Third verse, so I guess that's where I talk about how we might be addicted in a roundabout kind of way, or how you say, a dependency that's in my life, and I'm proud to say it's filling me with way more energy than I'll ever need, keeping me up for things I thought I'd never see. Time's gonna kill us all one day, whether old age, illness, or from listening to Coldplay. F that noise, wubba love love. Drink all the coffee, chug a lug lug. The day doesn't start till you're on your second cup. If they talk before then, huh?
Good morning, all of you beautiful nerds from around the world, and welcome to the morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live, the very best way to start your nerdy day. On today's show, we're spilling some tea. That's what the kids say. We're spilling some tea. There's been some DCEU drama, and I want to get into it. I find it very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this all has to do with David Ayer, with Kathy Yan, with Grace Randolph, with Hollywood, AT&T, DCEU, fans, everything. It all combines into one big shit fest. I want to break down for you what happened, who said what, who's in the right, and breaking down those perspectives. And I got to be honest, I'm just going to be fucking real. You know how I do. I'm just going to tell you how I feel about this. You might like it. You might not like it. But we're going to do it either way. Let's say good morning to all the beautiful people in here. How are we doing today? Dan, the man, first. You are first in here. Star Wars Santa, Captain Pennsylvania, Hector, Trinity's here. Stormbreaker's here, James Heaton, David Nation, Lavis, Sam Shills, Jason, James Gray, Inter Jim, John, oh God, Ryan, Bill M, Hector, Music Major, Kyle Beck, Jonathan Velasquez, Travis, Fanjecture, Sarah Jacobs, Quest, Rob Van Camp, Sly's in the building. Woo! Got a packed house today. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a good one. Hey, you know what else? Chat, pause the music for a second. We're also going to go into the theater, and we're going to look at a 2-year-old video. A 2-year-old video from none other than myself talking about Zack Snyder and the DCEU. Did you guys know that there are certain channels, people out there on social media that would like to expose people and find hypocrites online, right? And so I've been pretty positive on the DCEU as of late. And there could be some people that go back in time and look at our catalog and try to find hypocrisy, try to find me not being a fan of the DCEU, not supporting Zack Snyder. Well, I've got a 2-year-old video to watch with you guys, and honestly, it's really cringy. I was really bad 2 years ago. It's not that good. So we'll cringe a little bit. We'll laugh at old Josh and all the stupid things that old Josh liked to do. But more importantly, we'll show how I've been super, super consistent with what I've been saying about DC and DOS Justice League. I also want to say, just on a serious, more somber tone, we took the weekend off of videos. 2020 is drunk and needs to go home. 2020 is out of control. The only thing that I really want to say is that there's definitely a lot of crazy stuff going on there that's way more serious than internet drama about DC or, Star Wars or Marvel or anything like that. But we're just going to keep it light. We're going to stay on target. And we're going to just provide, or at least attempt to provide, a little bit of a distraction or perhaps a little bit of enjoyment, escapism, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna just do our thing, and we're gonna hope that we can provide a little bit of positivity in that way. And all we really want to say is that we love all of you guys, and we hope that whatever's going on, you guys. We hope you're being safe, you're staying safe, and that you feel loved. You know what I mean? Even the haters, we love you. Definitely don't want you to be hurting, going through crazy stuff. So, in all seriousness, that's what we want to do. We want to acknowledge what was going on, but we're gonna stay on target. We're gonna keep it light, and that's it. So I'm curious, and I want to know: do you guys know about what happened? Do you guys know what happened between Grace Randolph and Kathy Yan? Did you catch all that? And also, too, before we go into the theater and we start breaking down all of these tweets and talking about all this drama, I do want to say, last thing I'll say about this crazy stuff. Oh, my God, Dan the man, you just set me up. You just set me up, bro. You just set me up, Dan. Dan just gave me an alley-oops. He says, did you see someone dressed as Batman? Was that one of the protests? Yeah. Chet, pause the music real quick. I saw a couple of Batmans at protests, and I just want to say that every single one of them, every single Batman that I saw at the protest looks way better than Pattinson in the Batman. Am I right, though? Am I right, though? Yeah, they all looked better than Pattinson. Clip that and send it to Tara, would you? All right, guys, let's file into the theater. Let's get in here. Here we go. Okay. So we're going to break down what happened. We're going to talk about all these different tweets, and I'm going to give you my opinions on this. Now, full disclosure. A couple of things here. Full disclosure. New theater. It's just just a couple of changes, okay? Not necessarily new, just renovated. Just renovated. There's some renovations going on here. You know what I mean? Lavis says, send that to Tara. We'll debunk on the Den of Nerds After Dark. Amen. By the way, Den of Nerds After Dark, new show coming to the Den of Nerds. You guys are going to love it. Okay. It all started with this tweet here. Can you guys see this tweet? Okay. Everybody got this? Everybody able to read that? Okay, so check this out. I'll read it right here. It says, this was reshot because the tone was too dark. My first act was a normally constructed film. I took my inspiration from Nolan. There were real scenes with incredible acting between Jared and Margot. Joker was terrifying. Harley was complex. Okay. Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, actually, let's click on this. That's actually not the very first tweet that started it all, but it's in the same vein. Essentially, David Ayer has been campaigning. Well, I guess this was the tweet that started it all. He's been campaigning for his Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Okay? So, he makes that tweet talking about the too dark thing. Okay? Now, before this, he was actually talking about, and it was really interesting, he had a tweet about how producers had seen Deadpool. Okay? And so they literally wanted to make his movie, which was originally going to be a drama, into more of a comedy tone because of Deadpool. Okay? So he makes this tweet. Okay? Then Kathy Yan, who is the director of Birds of Prey, she comes out and makes a statement like this, saying, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Okay? Now, let's see. Grace Randolph had a little something to say about that, and it started a whole shitstorm of craziness. Okay? By the way, today's show, definitely not for kids. So I would get your kids on out of here. Okay. So this is the next turn here. So Grace says, I told you guys, massive reshoots, largely to take out Dick Pic's storyline and to add more action via Chad Stahelski. I don't know, Polish name. I'm Polish. I can't even pronounce Polish names. I'm surprised Yan would jump on this bandwagon, though. Birds of Prey, very well reviewed by critics and has a very strong fan base that vehemently defends the film as is. Okay. She gave the movie good reviews. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so this is look. The reason I wanted to talk about this is not just because it's drama. Okay, I don't necessarily like talking about drama, especially on air, streaming, whatever. Drama aside, this is an incredibly interesting thing. And here's the other thing that I want to say. I want to say this right off the bat before we get too far into this. Okay, number one, full disclosure: I am a fan of Grace Randolph. Okay? Full disclosure. Other side of that coin, the flip side of that conversation is that I've become friendly with a good bit of scoopers, and I have literally never talked to a scooper ever that I can recall that has a favorable opinion of Grace Randolph. Okay? So take that for what you will. Two sides to the coin. I'm going to be incredibly fair here, but the truth is almost everybody that's being a part of this drama and that's being a part of this conversation is in some way kind of lying. Okay? There's a ton of people here, and it goes back to that thing we always talk about, guys. It's all about narrative. Okay? It's all about fitting into the narrative. Who's my team? Who's not on my team? And that kind of stuff. So as you watch this and as we dissect what's going on here, I'm going to be fair. But there's a lot of people that like, and we'll get into some stuff in a little bit here. That's like, come on, man. Come on. Like, I'm a fan of this person, but what they said is like, come on. You know what I mean? So we'll get into it. Okay. So let's just start here. Grace had reported and did a pretty significant, a big video that was talking about the problematic elements of Birds of Prey. Okay, now in this video, she talks about a couple of different things that are problematic. Number one, the openly gay sexuality of Black Mask and Mr. Zaz. Okay? Now, in Grace's video, it's actually a nuanced point that she's trying to make, and I think it's a point that it doesn't work on Twitter, and honestly, it just doesn't work in general with people in 2020 because people just want to fight each other. But she's essentially making the argument that there's a little bit of queer baiting going on there, and it's actually not... it's A, not okay, and B, it's not altruistic, that Warner Brothers is just doing this because they think it checks a box. Okay. The other thing she's talking about is the fact that Black Mask, like there's a big MacGuffin in the movie, the diamond, if you've seen the theatrical cut of the movie, the diamond actually had images that were compromising to Black Mask. Okay. And the story was that, yes, they were going to be like dick pics or like nudes or something like that. That's the way she reported it. Okay. And that was a big thing in the movie, which to me, I'll be honest with you, when I heard that, I was like, that sounds ridiculous. Okay. The next part of it that was problematic, and this is really nuanced. This is like, look, honestly, this video is a little weird. This stream's a little weird to do because this is stuff that I don't even like talking about, but like it's important. Okay. So the other aspect of this was that the young girl, of course, in the movie swallows the diamond. Okay. And Grace, in her initial video, makes the point that having an underage girl swallow a diamond that has dick pics on it is a little bit problematic. You know what I'm saying? It's a little weird. Okay? So I'm good. So far so good for me. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting about this. I have to be real with you guys. That I don't watch all of Grace's stuff, but that video had a big impact on the buzz around the movie. Okay? It had a big negative impact on the buzz around the movie. I actually went into that movie thinking that I was going to see some of those things that Grace had talked about. I remember going to the movie with my buddy. You guys will recall we were making a lot of videos pretty critical of Birds of Prey. Actually, not a lot of videos, like maybe one or two. And there we got some pushback. And we decided, I sat down with the producers, mostly Tara, and we were like, you know what, let's do the thing that's fair and let's go see the movie. And I remember going into the movie really feeling like it was going to be garbage because of what Grace had kind of set me up to expect. Okay? Now there's a conversation to be had there about like, okay, who's that really on? You know what I mean? Who's that on? Is that on me? Maybe. Is that on Grace? Maybe. Is that on the marketing of the movie? Maybe. Regardless, it did have a big effect on the film. Okay? And I think certain people have a big problem with the fact that it had an impact on the movie. Okay? Also, for the record, and you can watch the review and the thing where it's like, why did it flop? We did a video about why it flopped, which, by the way, it totally flopped. We're going to get into all this nuanced conversation. People saying, oh, it didn't really flop. Get out of here. You know what I mean? We're gonna mince hairs. We're gonna play the semantic game. We'll get into it. But regardless, I like the movie. I actually really like Birds of Prey. I like it way more than Terra. I think it's a super fun movie, and I will watch it again. Let me just put something in perspective for you, and I'm rambling just a little bit here. I will probably not watch Solo 2 again, or Solo 2. I probably won't watch Solo: A Star Wars Story again, but I will watch Birds of Prey again. Think about that. So anyway, this is where it gets spicy. This is where it gets spicy. Kathy Yan herself replies. Kathy Yan herself. She says, excuse me, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's fascinating you would deem to try when you weren't a part of the process. Okay, I got you. Understood. So, Grace then replies back and says, no reporter is ever part of the process. They're different jobs. Everything I reported is common knowledge with many insiders. I brought it to the public. I gave your film a good review, and I said, here, you have a strong fan base. So logically, there should be no problem here. I gotta be honest with you. That's a totally fair point. That's a totally fair point. And Kathy replies, thank you for the support. Oh, and I thank you for the support. But let's set the record straight. There were never dick pics. You peddling a P word that you're not supposed to say on the internet, rumor, is not journalism. Peddling any gossip is not journalism. I know. I was one. Okay. So, to me, this is where it really gets wild. So Grace comes back at her. And I kind of dig it. You know what I mean? Like, they're just going at each other. I'm like, I'm kind of like the dude in the Godzilla movie. Let them fight! Multiple reporters confirmed that story after I reported it. Said it was great and should be kept in film and didn't like it taken out. And dick pics aren't the P word that we're not supposed to say on the internet. Plus, as a former journalist, you should realize the optics of now pretending you suddenly have a better Yan cut. Okay, here's the thing. I don't know exactly who's in the right here. It's really hard to decipher intentions, right? But I'll say this. It did appear to me that Kathy Yan was jumping on the train of, oh, Warner Brothers did me dirty. It did appear that way. The optics to me were that way. I've heard since then that Kathy's not even talking about Birds of Prey, actually. That she was talking about a different movie when she made that tweet. Shit. Maybe that's true. But I can't deny that I agree with Grace as far as the optics go. It looked like what you were suggesting was that Birds of Prey and its lack of performance in the box office, its inability to connect to a wider audience, is on Warner Brothers. That's what it looked like to me. And there's a way to clear that up if that's not what you intended. So this is another one that's really interesting to me. Grace says she has receipts, okay? And so she shows right here that Daniel Richtman, someone we talk about on the show, Daniel Richtman is an insider. Daniel Richtman definitely knows what he's talking about. He says she's talking about dick pics and Roman Black Mask being explicitly gay. Now, this is what's weird because, again, I've heard that Kathy was not talking about Suicide Squad when she made that tweet. Daniel is insisting that she is. So the question is, what are the optics? Am I so bad at optics? Is Grace so bad at optics? Is Daniel Richtman so bad at optics that we're getting it wrong? That that's not what Kathy Yan was saying? Maybe. Now, hilariously, Daniel chimes in. WTF, don't bring me into this. Also, there was never any dick pics. I got used to say that too, but it was a naked statue and was related more to Roman's character being a valuable art collector and, well, very well done. Nothing word that you're not supposed to say about it like you like to claim. Okay, here's the thing. Daniel's completely in the wrong here. And I'm just going to say it. Like, and this is one of those things where it's like, I like Daniel. I like these scoopers. I like Jeremy Conrad. I like Humberto Gonzalez. I like Charles Murphy. I like these people. I do. I think they provide a service. for fucking fans like me that are very fanatic and want to know this stuff, that's what the audience is. That's what they do. They provide a service. It's excellent. I like Daniel. He's completely in the wrong here, in my opinion. Not a little in the wrong, completely in the wrong. Like 1,000%. I actually don't know Mikey Sutton. He has a horrible reputation. That's what I know about Mikey. I don't feel comfortable reporting on Mikey's stuff. That's a decision I make. You know what I mean? Don't bring me into this. There were never any dick pics. Dude, you literally called it dick pics. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is that narrative shit, dude. This is that narrative shit, and this is my team, and that's not my team. Ah! You know? Bro. So I take two issues with what Daniel's saying here. Big time. Number one, you're playing a semantic game to try to absolve yourself of what you clearly said. Like, bro, you literally said it. Like, this would be one of those things where, like, if you're like in a group of friends and somebody says something stupid and then they try to walk it back, and everybody in that group of friends would be like, come on, bro. Bro, yeah, I get what you're trying to do. No. I would probably just shut up. Okay? Like, seriously, that's that semantic weird bullshit, okay? Next up, this whole thing about nothing word that you're not supposed to say, like you tried to claim. I watched the video, dude. I watched the video. She said it could be considered problematic, and I agree. But to say that by her saying that, she's implying and claiming, that's what you said, right? Be careful with your words. You know what I mean? Like, just be careful with your words. Like, nothing P word about it, like you tried to claim. Narrative much? It's whack, dude. It's whack. And the thing is, there are a ton of people that really don't like Grace, and I get it. I get it. But this is just, in my opinion, the most disingenuous whack shit. Like, if you're going to come at somebody, come at them for some real stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, come at it with some real stuff. I can admit that what that video Grace did about Birds of Prey affected Birds of Prey. It did. Possibly unfairly. Possibly unfairly. I can admit that Grace has some scoops that are suspect. That she's gotten some stuff wrong. So, if you're going to come at her for the real stuff, dude. This semantic game that a statue... Because here's the thing. If you really look past it after this, right? There's this whole weird thing where they're trying to say that, oh, it was a version of Black Mask as the Statue of David. Okay? And it you know, there was nothing weird about it. It was just an unflattering Statue of David thing. And, you know, Black Mask didn't like it. So why wouldn't he like it? Everybody knows what's the thing with the Statue of David. Everybody knows. By the way, really weird story about that. The guy that modeled for that actually wasn't that small. This was a weird thing in Greek culture where they actually considered large equipment, we'll just call it that, to be indicative of barbaric shit and being like bad. So there was literally during this like Age of Enlightenment or whatever it was, there was literally this move in the statues and in the art to depict the chiseled, intelligent, and elevated Greeks with tiny packages. And they actually wanted it. Like, they'd be looking at the statue and literally be like, can you shave a couple more inches off? Can you make it a little bit tinier? I want people to know I'm really enlightened. I want people to know I'm really close to. That's that shit, you know? Okay? Didn't translate. Doesn't translate to 2020. Everybody knows what the deal is with the statue of David. Why would he want to get the diamond? Why would he do all of this stuff? Why would it be so compromising if it's just a picture of him as the statue of David? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Weak. Weak sauce, dude. It is what it is, but it's weak. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else we want to. Okay, let's check this out. Let's check this out. The storyline was that you could see Roman's equipment on the statue in the picture in the diamond, and he was upset that it looked small. So that's why he was so fixated on getting it back. A picture of a statue's dick, especially in this context, is a dick pic. Oh my God, and she responds. That's not true. There has never been any discussion around the size of Roman's dick. Okay, so what's the... Okay, if that's true, but there's no discussion about the size, why does he want it back? Can you explain that to me? I can't believe I even had to write that. The original script called for an image of Ronan as Michelangelo's David. You know, art. If the dick pic was for the Louvre before... None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. And this is where it gets really wild. Kathy Ann then says, meanwhile, articles like below are written off of your scoops. Congratulations on being the scum of journalism. Now, let me see if I can find it. There was a tweet where James Wan, let me see if I can find this real quick. This is important. James Wan, Grace Randolph. See if I can find this. Okay. Grace had done a video for Aquaman talking about pickups of a new character being added to Aquaman. Okay? So, she does this video. I'm not going to put the tweet up on the screen, but you can check this out. You can fact check me if you want. This is what James Wan said to Grace Randolph. Hiya, Grace. Love your stuff, so I'll speak up. I didn't add a new character now. Dr. Shin was in the script since day one. I had recast Randall a year ago in August. I'm a big fan / love something about his work, but I didn't shoot his stuff till now. Hence, it's literally pickups with him. Cheers. I think in this world, in 2020, we don't give enough credit to tact. You know, we don't give enough credit for respect. You know, we don't give enough credit for not trying to incite. James Wan is a respectable dude, man. When you hear that that's how he talked to Grace about that, I mean, how can you not, no matter how you feel about Grace, how can you not just admire him? It's not about her at that moment. It's about him. Choose your words carefully. I don't know a lot about Kathy Ann, but I do know that to insinuate that Grace is somehow responsible for the articles that people write about her scoops is like, I would really need that explained to me, you know? I would really need that explained. I would really need a 1, 2, 3 step process on how that shit works. And to call someone the scum of journalism? Really? Okay. All right. Well, you're no James Wan, Kathy Ann. I'll say that right off the bat. I don't know much about Kathy Ann other than this. You know? It's pretty whack. It's pretty whack if you ask me. So let's go. Let's get into the chatting for a second here. I want to see what everybody's talking about, and we can talk about this, and we can get into it. And then I want to go into the theater, and I want to watch a 2-year-old video where I was really bad at YouTube talking about the DCEU. Are you guys okay with that? You know, the way this is the thing that's so interesting about this. The thing that's so interesting is that it is a weird time with all these power structures changing around, okay? I've been telling you guys a lot that, you know, there's a lot of scoopers and sort of Hollywood people and all these different things. They're, in some ways, that structure is breaking. I think literally AT&T coming in and doing the Snyder Cut thing has destroyed, or at least put on shaky ground, a lot of the procedure in Hollywood, okay? And there's this really weird sort of like elitism that goes on there. And, I mean, I think it's kind of whack, dude. I think it's kind of whack. I think David Ayer is completely in his right to campaign for his film. It really does sound like the studio came in and interfered. You know what I mean? It really does sound like they came in and screwed stuff up. I'd really like an explanation on whether or not Kathy Yan was referring to Birds of Prey or not. You know what I'm saying? I like Birds of Prey as is. You know what I mean? So what does Kathy want to do, right? Like, what's the other story there? You know what I mean? What's the other film? I don't know. What this whole thing tells me is that people in the industry are not only aware of big YouTubers and bloggers, but follow them. When someone like Campia says he's a nobody, it's a fallacy. Totally. I think, believe it or not, I mean, look, I'd venture to say a lot of these people watch the film community. You know what I mean? Like, I heard this sort of offhanded comment by Andy Signor in like a stream the other day. I was just like, I forget what I was researching, but I was researching something. And I heard Andy say he was on a plane behind J.J. Abrams one time, and he watched J.J. Abrams take out Twitter and search for his own name and just spend the whole flight looking at what other people were saying about him. And I think that's totally reasonable. I think that's human nature. Now, they don't want to act like it's a thing, but I mean, if you think about it, you know, Ryan Johnson's calling out YouTubers, right? Like, Ryan Johnson called out a couple of YouTubers. He called out Mike Zero, and I think he called out Ethan Van Sciver. I mean, that's just in super bad taste, dude. Like, talk about punching down. That's crazy. But it does show that a lot of these people are super aware of these conversations and what's going on. You know what I mean? It's interesting. Now, I kind of get Kathy saying that, and I've not checked, but if articles like that credit Grace's scoop, okay, let me get into this. This is interesting. She's probably seeing all this negative stuff and seeing it come from Grace. So, if Grace puts out an article or a video and she talks about these things, and by the way, I watched that video. It's a nuanced, fair video. Okay? And so Grace does that, and then someone looks at that and then takes it to the extreme, right? And then they're like, "Oh, it's that P-word stuff. This is really degenerate. Holy crap, this is crazy." And then they start, you know, writing articles about it with their own twist, with their own stuff. So is that Grace's fault that the people that are writing that article are writing it based on the fact that she talked about it? Like, that's a serious question. Like, do you guys really think that that's Grace's fault? I don't know. And I mean, she wasn't the only one. In Kathy Yen's eyes, yes. But what about your eyes, Dan? I mean, what do you think? You know? Like, you guys know that I leaked a major scene for The Rise of Skywalker, okay? I did a video that almost hit 1 million views where I explained the end of The Rise of Skywalker, and I explained why it would upset fans. And this was months out. Okay? Now, many other people ran with that. And a lot of them didn't credit me, to be honest with you, because they just don't like me or they don't want to give any, whatever. That's fine. But a lot of people ran with that and talked about it. And there was a big discussion about the negativity surrounding the ending. Okay? If people take that video I did and then do something that's much more negative, like really crapping on Disney, because I did not, right? I was just explaining as nuanced as I could how and why this was going to upset fans and why I was really hoping it wasn't true. So then if people take that and then they do their own videos or their own articles about it and they're like, Disney is spitting in the face of fans with this ending. Is that my fault? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think to say that you have no responsibility as a scooper is crazy. Okay? I think to say you have no responsibility if you have a platform or whatever and you're just making videos and stuff like that, I think is crazy. I think you do have a responsibility. I think, too, there's obviously a side to this where people want attention. They want their stuff to get clicked. They want their stuff to be watched. They want that. And so there is a tendency, not because they necessarily even want to, but because it is what works, to go for the drama, to go for the tea, to go for the incendiary comments, to go for what works. Oh, I'm definitely not a scooper. No, sirree, Bob. I am not a scooper. So there's a little bit of truth and a little bit of lies. It's like everybody's playing the same game. And everybody's trying to leverage social media. Everybody's trying to get their point across. Everybody's trying to fit stuff into a narrative. Everybody's trying to get attention. I get it. But I just found this particular situation to be really weird because it would appear by all accounts that Grace was right. By the way, is everybody just ignoring the fact that she was first, potentially first, at least very early with the Snyder stuff, that she's been spot on, bang on with the Snyder Cut stuff? Are we all just going to forget about that? We're going to forget about that because we think she ruined Birds of Prey? People supported the leak. Daniel Rickman literally puts in a tweet that it's a dick pic and then tries to walk it back? Like, we're just going to ignore that? Because we don't like Grace. Okay, gotcha. Cool. Just want to make sure. You know? And there'll be people that won't be happy with what I'm saying right now. There'll be people that don't want to work with me because of what I'm saying right now. And I think if you're one of those people, if you're watching right now, if you're watching later, and you're like, I really don't like what he's saying right now, I don't think I'm going to work with him anymore, think about what you're doing. Think about what you're saying. If you want to stay in the narrative brigade and you want to play the teams and the side thing, that's totally fine. That is not me. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try to see it the way I see it. I'm going to speak on it the way I think. I'm just going to be real. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to try to fit it into a narrative. The truth is, I think Kathy Yann's original movie did have problems. I think the fixed version of it is much better. I think Kathy Yann is trying to piggyback off of the Snyder Cut situation. I think Kathy Yann got super upset, and you know what? Shit. I understand. The world is crazy right now. So I get it. But my opinion is that she went too far. The scum of journalism? She's responsible for the articles written about her story? That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. All right, you guys ready to watch the cringe? Are you guys ready to watch this cringe of me 2 years ago? Get this set up real quick, boys and girls.
If your shirt isn't tucked into your pants, or your pants tucked into your shirt.
God, I was so bad at YouTube back then. Give me 1 second, guys. I just got to adjust the framing here. All right, this probably works. All right, let's get into the theater, everybody. Come on in. What the hell? Hang on. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, so get that out of here. Let's pause the music so everybody can hear this. Pause the music. Pause the music. Is everybody filed in? Is everybody good? But you're so freaking cool now, bro. Hey, thanks. Let the cringe binge. Okay. Yeah. This is pretty cringe. Okay. Are we good? I'm going to play it for a second and I'll pause. I just want to make sure the audio is good. Former entertainment writer Josh Dickey has recently put out a bit of Warner Brothers' dirty laundry. Apparently... Can you hear that okay? I'm going to pause for a second. Make sure it's a good audio-wise in chat, okay? Gotta clean up those sticky floors. Okay. All right, let's cringe together. Zack Snyder was fired from the DCEU and Justice League. This was around the time that we were told he walked away for personal reasons due to the family tragedy of his daughter committing suicide. Well, according to Dickey, that is not what happened, and Warner Brothers actually forced Zack out and fired him. What does this mean for Zack's future? How will this affect the DCEU, and does this say something about Hollywood? In this video, I'm going over all of that and more. Let's talk about it. Did you guys hear that? That used to be like our intro. It's literally like I was just in my apartment when I first started the channel, and I was like, you know what I want to do? I thought it was kind of funny. So the reason I wanted to show you guys this video too is because you might be curious, like, why, if you've heard recently with my coverage of Your Music Selection Has Gotten Worse, if you've heard my coverage lately, you'll notice that like I really don't buy the official story between Warner Brothers about how this all went down. Okay? And this is why. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. If you love comic book movies, subscribe to this channel. We cover all aspects of those types of films. Oh, and real quick, shout out to Chris Root, who got the nerd card question correct in my latest Dragon Ball Super video. You definitely know your stuff when it comes to Dragon Ball Super, so shout out to you, Chris. There will be a... Chris Root, are you here? Are you watching the live show right now? Wouldn't that be crazy? If Chris Root was in here? Another nerd card question at the end of this video. All right, guys, so this is a really crazy story. There's a lot to unpack here, and I'm going to just straight up give my... Yeah, good call. So I've been trying... Yeah, so you'll notice I've been trying to get Dragon Ball Super into the channel for over 2 years. Yeah, even 2 years ago, I was talking about Dragon Ball Super. Let's opinions. Now, I want to give a small disclaimer here. I am not a journalist. I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just a fan who likes these things, hears stories, and formulates my own opinion. So I'm going to give it to you raw, and I'm going to tell you how I really feel about this, because a lot of the people that are covering this in the media, man, I'm just really kind of disappointed in the coverage that they are doing about this story. And let me explain. Okay. Super cringy, right? Super cringy. But the statements I'm making, same thing I said today, right? Things, the more things change, the more they stay the same, folks. Don't know what's happening here. Josh Dickey, who was a Mashable writer, he wrote for The Wrap. I believe he worked at Variety for a time. He's worked at a lot of different places in Hollywood. He came out and put out a tweet saying that he's going into DGAF mode, which means don't give a fuck mode. And he literally said, there's a hot scoop for you before I get the heck out of Dodge, and that is that Zack Snyder was fired last year. Okay, this was a really interesting thing where Josh Dickey was this guy, he was doing the Hollywood thing, and he literally is like, at one point, he just decides, guess what? I'm out. Screw all of you. I'm out. And he dropped a bunch of crazy stuff before he exited the scene. This was one of them. Not that he had to step away, he was straight up fired, okay? So this story has a lot of implications, but let me talk first about the journalism and what people are in that field are saying about this story now, okay? So I heard a lot of journalists say that like people in that industry sort of knew that this had happened. They had heard rumors about it, they had heard stories about it, but they couldn't exactly come out and cover it. They couldn't exactly say what was actually happening. Now, a lot of them were saying that they didn't want to cover this because of the family tragedy, right? You don't want to do something like this when someone is grieving. And if he's really stepping away for family reasons, and then you add to the fact by saying that he was fired, it's a really, really bad thing. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought journalists were supposed to report accurately, despite whose feelings were going to be hurt, what was actually happening. I tend to think that's their freaking job. So what I find completely whack about this is that all these journalists are coming out and coming down on Josh Dickey for putting out this tweet because it rattles cages, because it's gonna bring a bunch of heat on Zack, it makes Warner Brothers look bad, it's unprofessional, and yet they might have known what was actually going on. I mean, I don't know. Guys, this was really big when this happened. I remember like John Schnepp was talking about it. Robert Meyer Burnett were talking about it. I believe Campia commented on it. A lot of people commented on this when it happened. Man, to me, that just sounds completely fucked up. That's not the way journalism should work, in my opinion. I think we deserve to know the truth. And if this story does end up to be what actually happened, then Warner Brothers totally fucked Zack Snyder. They totally screwed this guy over. And Zack is a company man. He rides for the brand. He does what he has to do. He says what he has to do. And he was really, really nice and good about this entire situation. But here's the thing. If he really walked away just because of the family tragedy, then why wasn't he at the premiere? why didn't he do any press for the movie? And why did he go and make that short film instead of working on the Justice League movie? So you're going to tell me that this guy walked away and just wanted to be with his family, and yet he makes a film on his own? Now, on the one hand, we're just watching an old video, but we're also kind of seeing this Hollywood play nice game with the journalists and then the people that don't want to play that game that will report the actual news. By the way, just for the record, Grace is literally one of the only people that I've seen online that's actually honest about what Warner Brothers did to Zack Snyder. Let's continue. I mean, granted, it is a short film, but he literally was doing work, hours and hours a day, making this short movie. So I don't know, man. All signs point to me that some really screwed up Hollywood stuff happened, and they were like, hey, man, you got to go. And you also have to tell people that you are going away because of what happened with your daughter. Because remember, the suicide happened 2 months before he left the production officially. He took a couple weeks away when it first happened. The entire production stopped. Then he came back, and the reports when he was walking away, or essentially fired, were that he thought coming back to work would clear his mind, it would get him focused again, and it would help in his grieving. And he realized 2 months later that that's not the case. It's not helping, and he needs to walk away. I mean, I don't know. It sounded fishy back then, and it sounds especially fishy right now. So if this indeed actually happened, it just points to Warner Brothers as just being complete garbage, man. I mean, they should have made this decision before they started shooting Justice League. Remember, there was that 2-week period after Batman v Superman where they had the opportunity to make a different call. They had an opportunity to be like, no, we're not going to go with Zack. No, we're going to hold up. And at the very least, they probably should have taken a little bit more time, delayed production, and sort of come up with a consensus within the company. But instead, they went to go make the Justice League, and they were messing around with his vision from the very, very beginning. I mean, we know. I mean, Adam, are you watching this, bro? Like, are you, because you and I talked about this. You know what I mean? Like, we talked about this. Nobody wanted to talk about this. No, you can see different pieces of concept art that didn't make it into the film. When those journalists were all invited to London to do the set visit, there was something like 3 weeks into production, which was a total PR move. When they all went to do that, they all noticed stuff that was literally like being taken down from the walls and sort of hidden in the corner. I mean, Black Suit Superman's gone. There's so much stuff that's absolutely just wrecked because Warner Brothers was making corporate boardroom suit type decisions and killing this man's creative vision. By the way, let's talk about Batman v Superman real quickly here. I think the director's cut of that movie is 10 times better than the theatrical cut. And I believe what happened in that scenario was studio meddling. They were like, hey, Zack, this movie's great. Cut 35 minutes out of it. And he was left to sort of make a butchered film that really disappointed a lot of audiences. But damn. But I guess maybe I'm a flip-flopper. I guess maybe before I hated the DCEU and I wasn't on Zack Snyder's side. I guess maybe, oh, wait. I've been consistent the whole goddamn time. Consistency. Objectivity. The Den of Nerds. Let's continue just a little bit more. This is the same guy that did Watchmen. He did 300. He did Dawn of the Dead. He is a brilliant filmmaker, and I actually really like Man of Steel, but I don't think it was designed to be the beginning of a shared universe. I think that is where it all went wrong. After Man of Steel, they started making all these hair-trigger decisions. Remember when we heard that the Man of Steel sequel was going to have Batman in it? And then all of a sudden, that movie's now called Batman v Superman. Batman's the first name in the title Superman gets pushed to the bottom, and then the rest is history. So I
That's wild,
believe
Jack.
that Warner Brothers
That's
literally
I'll
just
take her
couldn't
legs
make a
off.
decision. They didn't have complete consensus, and they screwed up over and over again until enough was enough, and then they fired the guy that took 10 years of his life to build their shared universe. And to his credit, Zach, and probably mostly because his wife is a big producer over there, took it on the chin, played the company man role, and didn't make a lot of waves. Now, I want to draw a parallel to the Rian Johnson thing here, because although I like The Last Jedi quite a bit, I would not be disappointed if Lucasfilm decided Rian should not develop his new trilogy, okay? And this is a perfect example of what happened with Batman v Superman. Were there a lot of DC fans that loved that movie? Yes. But Warner Brothers should have looked at the consensus within their fandom and decided, no, we're not going to continue to go this way. Let's pull the plug. So that is what they should have done. And instead, okay, we can stop it there. Yeah, let's get back into the chatting. And you know what, guys? Wow, that hour flew by. It's already 11. But we'll do a little bit of Q&A if anybody has any questions. Bring it on in. Yeah. Just a little bit of consistency. You know? I saw some people on some of my new DC videos being like, "Oh, you're a flip-flopper. You're flip-flopper. You clearly never cared about DCEU. You don't like Zack Snyder, and you're doing this to try to gain attention." Your music choice is sus now. Josh, just thought I'd let you know. Oh, is the music too loud? Sorry, guys. Is that too jammy? Too jammy for you? Turn the music down 33%. Heard. Hang on, I'm gonna get wandering dogs dealy here. Just thought I'd let you know, me and a few others are having issues with the chat staying live and feeding through. That's weird. Are you as excited to watch Eternals as the rest of us, Josh? Explain. Yeah, no, I really am. I think Eternals is going to be dope. 10-minute rant on Eternals? I can't really do necessarily a rant, but I think that this movie, I mean, it's a lot of what I've said before, but the movie's going to be sort of like a new prelude for the MCU, the wider MCU in Phase 4 and 5. It's like crazy because as far as the MCU goes, we still have so much to open up. You know what I mean? By the way, apparently Charles Murphy is going to have a pretty big Marvel scoop today. And I'm pretty interested to see what it could be. So who knows? Maybe we'll do a video on it. Interesting. But yeah, Eternals is going to be dope, man. Eternals is going to be good. Black Mask's going to be crazy. I hope they tease Namor. I hope they tease Apocalypse. I hope we get to see some Celestials. Yeah. It's going to be dope. Let's be honest, we are ready for any Marvel movie, show, or trailer. Yeah, when is that trailer coming? Holy crap. Black Knight is what I meant. Yeah. Did I say Black Mask? Ooh. Got DC on the brain. By the way, I love the Black Mask. Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Black Mask in Birds of Prey. I thought it was fantastic. Star Wars video? Yeah, I've got a Star Wars video lined up. Tomorrow is going to be that big announcement about the game that's coming out. I don't know how many people are talking about that. Oh my God, Social Distance Warrior. Oh my God, you guys are ridiculous. So there's going to be a game announced tomorrow, we think, for Star Wars. And I think it's going to be that Project Maverick. So Maverick Pilgrim will probably be pretty pumped about it. But I think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be Project Maverick. And my feelings on it are that it's going to be sort of a flight simulator Rogue Squadron type game. And if they're really smart, they'll make it available like tomorrow. Oh my God, Jacob's Quest. You guys belong over at the Den of Nerds After Dark with all this craziness. Are you guys still putting out videos on the Den of Nerds Gaming? No, we are not. Eventually we will return to gaming, but for now, there's just a lot of other stuff that we're working on. And I'm also going to talk about Ezra Bridger. I had a video, I actually was writing the script yesterday, was good to go on that, and then just decided, you know, it's too crazy out there in the world. Let's just take a day off. What are you trying to hide about the Fantastic Beasts 3 news, Josh? I did say that the show was not for kids. That's true. Probably should just do Twitch gaming in the future. Yeah, I've considered that. What do you think about the delays in Star Wars books? Is it a sign of the times, or is there more to it? Probably a little bit of both, Renee. I think that on the one hand, yeah, it's all just publishing and stuff like that. On the other hand, yeah, I think there's some movement there. The Thrawn book got moved up a month, actually. So the next Thrawn book is coming out early. CGM says, yeah, I never trusted Grace. She always felt shady to me, like everything she says has an angle. And when she is wrong, she never says, I was wrong. And just goes, oh, I was right, but they changed it. Yeah, that's your impression of it. And I would say you're probably right in the fact that she probably doesn't take the L's that she should. You know what I mean? And that's a big out for all scoopers, by the way. But here's the thing. I know that there have been good scoopers that have gotten caught with bad scoops because the studio changed things. Charles Murphy's one of them. You know what I'm saying? Josh, did you hear that ridiculous rumor that Mandalorian is going to reveal Boba Fett as a woman? Baseless claim. I thought it was funny. Yeah, it's just so, like, what? That's one of those. That's, like, really, really, really weird. Charles Murphy equal Jeremy Conrad? No, definitely not. And those guys don't even like each other. You know what I mean? The scoopers, like, we talked about this before, but all the scoopers, it's almost like Game of Thrones with them. You know? You know, it's very Game of Thrones among all these scoopers. Look, I'm just hands off. Is there a live stream tonight? No. Josh is one of the only YouTubers who admits when he got it wrong. I mean, I appreciate that, but I don't think I'm one of the only ones. I think there's a lot of people. And by the way, I think Grace probably has admitted when she's wrong before. I just think that probably doesn't, it's not as sexy. You know what I mean? It's not as in your mind about it, you know? I mean, there's definitely some stuff with Grace that is super suspect. Like the Kathy Kennedy scoop from a couple of years ago, I still don't understand it. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, Yeah, that one doesn't make sense to me. And then there was the famous scoop where, okay, so this one's really interesting. It was all about, is Warren a scooper? You mean Warren from Cosmic Wonder? No way is he a scooper. At least not that I know of. I don't really watch Warren's stuff. Does he scoop or does he just report on Mikey Sutton rumors? You feel me? Any inside info on the Star Wars game? Blue, you know what? Believe it or not, I actually didn't reach out to anybody about it. And partially because I felt like if I did, they would tell me not to talk about it. Sometimes you gotta, yeah, no. And also just because I don't need to necessarily reach out about that. There's enough info out there that's like pretty confident I know what's happening. Does anyone else think that Grand Moff Gideon looks like Tar Vizsla? Bro, that's a cool, funny point, you know? Yeah. Is Trinity streaming, boys and girls? Trinity, are you streaming? Hey, Trinity's up. All right, cool. I'm going to post a link to Trinity's stream. Make sure everybody gets on over there. He just started. Where's the chat? Where's the chat? Bada boom, bada bing. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Head on over to Trinity Stream. Yep, we're going to call it there, guys. More videos and streams coming at you all week. Thank you guys so much for the support and being here. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.